The case of the Czech Republic is probably similar to many other countries of the region. We started our policy advocacy in 2016, 2 years ago. The first thing we did was sort of test the field. What is the general opinion among different stakeholders? Obviously, it was very negative. So the first year what we did, we started changing their opinion, changing the sort of atmosphere and feeling about PrEP. We invited some speakers. I would like to thank Rosalind, who was one of the first international speakers who was invited to come to the Czech Republic to do the first round of lobbying for PrEP. At that time, I think the answer was no, 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 no. There was no sort of reception to this. But things started moving. And in 2017, last year, we actually managed to establish a task group at the National HIV Commission. So there was a round of stakeholders, people from ministries, from NGOs, from clinicians, from public health office authorities, who actually sat together and started discussing PrEP. Again, the initial meeting was no, 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 but eventually they realized that things are moving in Europe and we cannot stay behind. At the same time, the generic makers actually registered their products for PrEP use in the Czech Republic. So today we have 4 companies who are registered and can legally distribute PrEP in the country. It's Gilead, the original producer, and it's 3 generic makers. In 2017, last year, in summer, we ran a small survey among MSM community at Prague Pride. We found out, for example, that about 1/3 of our target audience don't know anything about PrEP. There's no information about PrEP among gay guys in the Czech Republic. We also asked what would be the price you'd be willing to pay for PrEP. And as you can see, we need to keep the price down under 40 euros if there's any co-financing scheme. Otherwise, we'll simply miss the target. Nobody will be buying PrEP if it's more expensive. What happened next is we talk about availability. So we started talking to different HIV centers who would be the first one willing to prescribe PrEP. We found actually 2 centers who said, okay, let's try, we will be willing to do this. So right now we have 7 or 8 centers in the Czech Republic who are authorized to prescribe. Out of them, 3 are already proactively engaged in the scheme, and they're helping us to roll out the scheme. Now I have a sort of bullet list of things I think we achieved. PrEP is part of the HIV national strategy. We just had a new strategy which was approved last year, so that's completed. We also have national PrEP guidelines, so there's a clinical guidelines how to prescribe and monitor PrEP use. Here I'd like to maybe just use another example how we achieve this. We invited Sheena McCormack to come to the Czech Republic to do a round of public appearances, but also a talk to our clinicians. So she spent 24 hours in the Czech Republic. She had like 7 different interviews. I don't think she slept at all, but she actually managed to pass the message. So 2 weeks after she left, we had the national PrEP guidelines. Availability. If you buy PrEP using the official market price, so using the generic price, you would pay 220 euros, which is, as you can see, above the threshold. Nobody will buy for this price. We did, however, some research about the German case, and we discovered that since we are all in the EU, space, we can bring the Czech recipe to German pharmacy and get the prescription from the German pharmacists. That's what we did. So we have now 10 first users. We actually go to Dresden, which is the closest place from Czech border. So we go to the pharmacy. We buy the PrEP there, and we bring it back to the Czech Republic. It's a clumsy arrangement, but it's the only one which currently works. We are now working on the cost-effectiveness analysis. We have some support from actually the drug makers, so we hopefully will come up in about 3 or 4 months with some analysis which will prove to the public authorities that it's a cost-effective measure. We started a small campaign. We have some leaflets, we have a website, but this is still very, 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 very soon. We need to have actually more substantial campaign, which will be launched after we have this whole system in place. And we need to continue in our policy advocacy, because obviously, if the government is not willing to pay, this will never scale up sufficiently to make sure that those who need it will be included in the system. And here, what we found is quite useful is to use the media. So we are now making every month at least 1 appearance in media, not just the general media, but also the specific sort of health media, to make sure that the message is passed across to those who are involved in the decision making. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert. Thank you for keeping on time.